This is Mindset for Success with your host, Dr. Leslie Knutson. Each week, she will interview women entrepreneurs to explore the unconscious psychological struggles they faced as they build their businesses and how they overcame them. Here's your host, Leslie Knutson.
Hello, this is Dr. Leslie Knutson, and this is Mindset for Success. Each week, we interview women entrepreneurs to explore the unconscious psychological struggles they faced as they built their businesses and how they overcame them. I wanted to say welcome to you, Lana. It's wonderful to have you, and I'm glad you could join us.
Great, thank you for having me.
After working at a number of top global firms, including Duff & Phelps, Deloitte, and NBC Universal, 6 years ago, Lana Hout founded First Choice Business Brokers Los Angeles office with their business partner, Adriana Smith. Lana is one of America's top business brokers and advises small business transactions across a wide range of industries. In addition, she and Adriana created the Biz Hot List, which provides entrepreneurs advice on how to build and scale small businesses. Lana currently lives in Los Angeles. So, Lana, I wanted to start by asking you, you worked successfully for a number of years before opening your own business. And with your partner, Adriana Smith, I just wondered, was it difficult to leave a secure job path to become a female entrepreneur?
I think that people probably expect me to say yes to this answer, but actually I would probably say no. For me, I had worked, several years in corporate, and I got a lot of great training, a lot of experience, acquired a lot of knowledge, but really because I had worked with, in different roles in the different corporations, I started already feeling my own desire to go out on my own. So when the opportunity presented itself, I was all in. I actually didn't think about it too long, which I know might surprise a lot of people, but I think that when you already start to feel the desire to be your own entrepreneur and want to go do your own thing, when the opportunity presents itself, I just had to jump on it. And in all honesty, it was the best decision I ever made.
And how did you push back on and try not to get stuck on the more worried, uncertain side of it?
Well, I think, yeah, I think that, obviously, especially with what, I am doing currently, it's a commission only job. So going from financial security of a consistent paycheck to a more high risk business, does have its risks involved and can definitely make people second guess themselves. I think for me personally, I just thought that, what, I had worked in multiple firms. I knew what that path would be like. And I knew I could always go back to that path, right? I could always go and get another job. But I just felt like I needed to go all in on myself. And, I had that desire, and I knew that I would regret it if I didn't go and pursue being an actual entrepreneur myself.
And go in all on myself means exactly?
Believing in yourself. To be an entrepreneur, you have to bet on yourself. You have to know that you can do it and that you have all of the skills and resources necessary to do it. And there is plenty of information out there. So you can always, trust yourself that you will figure it out. I think that's something that sometimes people are like, well, I don't know how to do this, and I have never done that. But those are, I think any new entrepreneur should be, should not focus on that. The reality is being an entrepreneur, no matter how many years you've been into it, there's always going to be something new, some new obstacle, some new challenge that you've never experienced. And you have to trust that you're going to rise to the occasion and use your experiences to figure it out.
And how did you learn that you could rise to the occasion?
By having times where you have losses, right? Like when you meet challenges that are difficult, not every scenario works out the way you want. I think what ends up happening is it's really about recognizing, okay, this was a tough situation. Maybe it didn't work out with the outcome that I wanted. So what am I going to do? Am I going to wallow in the fact that it didn't work out, or am I going to get up and try again? And what you find is that if you keep getting up, you will be able to use those losses as learning opportunities for the next win. And I think that, that's just something you need to have in yourself. Like I just always believed in myself.
And did you have it? Yeah, I was going to say, did you have that belief in yourself forever and ever? It came, I don't know, in corporate, it came post-corporate as you were making your way as an entrepreneur?
I have. I've actually always believed in myself. I was a straight A student, so from the back of school, like taking on challenging courses that maybe were in subjects that I really knew nothing about. I think that was probably maybe an easy way for people to understand. I would go to classes that were tough, subject matter, and I just would apply myself, study, talk to the professors, really try to understand that subject and apply myself. And, ultimately, I always just believe if you do your best, that's all you can ask from yourself, really, is if you try. And so for me, I've always had that drive to just apply myself. And I think maybe that's also kind of in the household that I grew up in. I had parents that really believed in the importance of hard work and going after your dreams. And I think that was sort of part of my foundation.
And I guess it kind of made it safe also too to work hard and expect good results. And one of my thoughts is that, does it feel like courage, or does it feel more like I love to learn?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I would say a little bit of both, to be
Okay,
honest.
so tell me about that.
Yeah, so I think I do love to learn, and I do think that in the business that I'm in, working with so many different business owners across different industries, it's just an opportunity to learn about business from a lot of different lenses. But I think that you need to have that courage to trust yourself. That if you take the time to study up on whatever the subject matter is, to do the research, to put in the work, that you are going to be able to find opportunities and solutions to whatever you are looking for. And so I actually think it's a combination of both. Loving to learn is great, but if you're not willing to take the risks that come with actually applying that knowledge to your business, then it's kind of incomplete. You kind of need both to be an entrepreneur.
So explain to me the courage piece. I get the I love to learn piece. What part you have to be? I don't understand the courageous part.
I think the courageous part is once you have that information, actually enacting it, like enacting on it. So,
Meaning trusting that you understand it. You got it.
trusting that
Now
you
you can apply
understand
it.
it. Yeah, trusting that you can understand it and having the courage to, go out there and make that decision. And, you might not know all the pieces. So, you can't, there's no guaranteed outcomes, right? You can prepare and know everything about a problem and then, enact the solution. And then a new issue comes up that you did not foresee. So
Right.
you have to have that courage to actually want to say, you know what, I, I researched it. This is the best decision for what is known and knowable for right now. This is the best decision. And I have to have the courage to actually make the decision and go through and actually go through with it and realize that if it doesn't work out, okay, pivot. Right. So you're really trusting yourself. And I think sometimes, a lot of times people get caught there.
Right.
They've done all the work. They've figured out all of the issues. They think they know what the answer is, but there's a bit of fear holding them back from actually taking the plunge and really pulling the trigger, so to speak, and making that decision for their business.
So talk to the ambitious female entrepreneur who gets stuck there. What can you tell her to do?
if you get stuck there as a ambitious female entrepreneur, what I would recommend is, you know, go back to the basics, you know, go through it in your mind. Have you done the work? Have you done the research? Is this are all the arrows pointing to the solution? If
Mm-hmm.
so,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have to take that leap of faith. And know one thing is that nothing in life is so final that you cannot pivot. You know, you might make the decision. It may or may not work out the way that you want, but trust enough in yourself, believe in yourself and your own work ethic that you will look for another solution and make the adjustments as needed. Because you know what? The worst thing in life is actually being stagnant. Not moving is worse than moving, because if you
Mm-hmm.
move, you can always pivot, you can always change
Mm-hmm.
direction.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just standing there, nothing will ever, you're missing out on all of the potential opportunities that could come your way because you're too afraid. So I would say don't let fear hold you back.
So, what do you do about the fear of failure when it comes up?
Uh, you know, the fear of failure is something I think every entrepreneur
Mm-hmm. For
has
sure.
felt and dealt with. I mean, I think every human being has
For
felt and
sure.
dealt with,
For
quite
sure.
frankly. Um, you know, fear will always be there. And I think that trying to act like it isn't there is probably a bigger problem than not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I acknowledge when I think something that I think I'm taking a risk, but I think for me, I realized that in this business, with all my experience, I've also challenged fear and had great wins that
Mm.
had I not challenged it, I wouldn't have experienced. And so I think with fear, it's like you just need to acknowledge it. But that again, it comes down to, you know, are you going to let fear dictate your path in this world as an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur? And quite frankly, if you do, then you're not going to be a successful entrepreneur, because fear is never going to help you out. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to stop you from making decisions, making choices, following up on what you think and you know is right in
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to say, because it's like, I'm like, really I need to say, you got to kind of get over your fear, but really what you do is you just need to work through it and take action despite your fear.
So, challenging the fear is a little bit like taking the hardest class you can find and really finding yourself trying to figure it all out.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Is that
I wouldn't say taking the hardest class, but yeah, I mean, to some degree, challenging your fear. With fear comes all of the playing on people's anxieties and their worries and their insecurities, right? That's what fear does. It
mm-hmm.
just plays on all of the worst case scenarios for you. And as an entrepreneur, you feel like you're taking a lot of risks. Most of the times, entrepreneurs are also taking a huge financial risk, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
they're
Mm-hmm.
they're transitioning from steady jobs to building their own businesses. So yeah, you are, there is a little bit, you need to be a little bit of, you can't be so risk averse to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm. For
They
sure
don't go
not. Yeah.
hand in hand. So
Right.
the thing with fear is, acknowledging that it's there, but realizing that you are smart and capable and are going to do everything you can to make the best decision
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
with the information that you have, and that no decision is something that I don't believe things that are so final. I believe that, if I make a decision and it's not the right one, then I learned from it, and that is
Mm-hmm.
just as
Mm-hmm.
valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And that I will learn from it, and then I will pivot and I'll
Mm-hmm.
use that
Mm-hmm.
that knowledge to get the next win.
Right. Right. Speaking of the next win, you describe yourself as a warrior leader type in business. How has being a warrior served you at work? And what traits do you think a warrior leader has?
So I really love the imagery of being a warrior, especially for all the young entrepreneurs out there. To me, a warrior is someone who never gives up. When they're met with obstacles and challenges, maybe they
Mm-hmm.
got,
Mm-hmm.
pushed down, they always get back up, and they always push forward despite the obstacles and challenges that they are dealing with. And so for me, when as a business person, I'm met with challenges and obstacles every day, both in running a business brokerage, but as well as being my own broker and dealing with deals, with different clients in different industries, right? So there's kind of two hats that I'm wearing. And so there's challenges in both roles. But for me, I would say a warrior is persistent, is dedicated, and will always, will never give up. And I think that those are the qualities that I always try, when I feel like I am dealing with a tough challenge, I say to myself, you know what? Okay, you're a warrior. What would a warrior do? A warrior would not just like take the hit and just be out of the game. Yeah, they would keep getting back up because they believe in themselves and they believe in the cause that they're fighting for. And as entrepreneurs, you're fighting for your business. That is your cause. You are putting your heart, your blood, sweat, tears, everything into your business. That's why you keep getting up, because your business is and it should be something that you're passionate about, something that you love, something that it's your baby. And so that, for me, when I think of being a warrior, it's just to remind myself that warriors do get knocked down. That is part of the game. No warrior doesn't lose a battle, but it's not, you can lose battles, but you're trying to win the war, right? And so understanding that losing battles just preps you to learn and gives you necessary tools and skill sets so that you can eventually win the war. And by winning the war, I mean, so that you could eventually have a growing and thriving business that might be even bigger than you ever imagined as the entrepreneur on the onset of.
In your opinion, given all this and given the hot biz, the biz hot list that you and Adriana started, what do you think are the top 3 things that a woman entrepreneur should have to be successful? Top 3.
Confidence is a real big one. To be able to speak confidently, to convey that you know what you're talking about in a strong manner, I think is very important. I know a lot of female entrepreneurs sometimes tend to be either more shy or timid. But I think if you can really convey your confidence in yourself and in what you're talking about, I think that will go far for you.
But you also have to genuinely, authentically have it, right?
You do.
Yeah.
And the only way that you can also get it is, I always tell people, practice your pitch, practice how you talk about your business. If I meet you at a networking event and I say, hi, I'm Lana, I'm a business broker. What do you do? Know what you're going to say about your business. So part of the building of confidence is also the practice of talking about your business. So it's not that I just say, oh, be confident. Like nobody's just be confident, right? You gain confidence by, if you have a business that makes, it could be a business that makes software technology, then you should be able to clearly and articulately communicate what your business does, who your customer is, what purpose does it serve. And that only happens by practice. So I would say to become more confident, make sure that you know what you're saying about your business, what you're saying about yourself, what your role is, and practice it. Practice it in the mirror. Practice it with your friends.
Right.
Practice it when you network. Because honestly, once you said it multiple times, you will just know what people are going to ask you, and you'll just feel confident because you know the answers.
Right.
Okay. There is confidence in just knowing answers before people ask you. So I think that's what I really mean is just being confident, but making sure that, you practice and speak with confidence. You don't want to come off like, because, sometimes women can also come off a little timid, and in business, like if you don't speak with a certain authority, it can come off like you don't know what you're talking about, or you don't seem confident. And who wants to work with someone who doesn't seem confident, right? Like that's not going to allow people to have confidence in you. Yeah. Exactly. Right. So that's one. I would say the second, being decisive. I think that and really with decisiveness, I'm really talking about not overthinking, right? Not being paralyzed by trying to look at every angle possible. At some point, you just have to make a decision and realize that the decision you make can either go well, or like I said earlier, might not go the way you want, but you're going to adjust. And you just have to trust yourself that you'll adjust. And decisiveness, the quicker you can make decisions, I'm not saying being reckless, obviously. I'm saying making decisions based off of good information. But the quicker you're able to make decisions, the ability for your business to gain momentum, right? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to have business gain momentum and actually move forward versus being stagnant.
Right.
And I would say my third one would be optimism. I'm an optimistic
Good.
person. I don't know if that's something that maybe people would expect, me to say, but I think you should always be optimistic. I like to have the glass half full approach, because look, life life in general has its challenges and its ups and downs. Business definitely has its challenges and ups and downs,
Right.
but what a beautiful thing it is that you get to go after your dream. And people need to, I think people sometimes, get caught up in the stress, and look, it is stressful. I'm not going to sit here and say being an entrepreneur is just,
Right.
a walk in the park. But
Right.
I think if you have optimism, then you can also always be looking for the silver lining in situations, looking for those learning lessons. But then it makes you enjoy the journey more, I think.
Would you consider yourself a long-term optimistic person?
I think so. I
Mm-hmm.
think so because I found life is a lot sweeter if you're optimistic than if you're not.
For sure. And easier too, in
It is
some ways.
easier because I've met people who are a little bit more pessimistic, but it's like sometimes things don't go the way that you want them to go, but you know life doesn't always, it doesn't work out the way you want, but sometimes there's gifts in that. Sometimes we have preconceived notions about what an outcome should look like, and then we get a different outcome, but we don't realize that actually the different outcome is actually better than what we're pushing for. So I think having that optimism allows you to also see, I didn't get what I thought I wanted, but I actually ended up getting something better. And that is a blessing, I think, for a lot of entrepreneurs who are able to tap into that.
And also probably being, having close friends, I don't know, obviously business associates, partners also who share in the optimistic trait, right? Who also see it like you see it, which is being able to really reinforce all the good opportunities out there. And oh, well, if it doesn't work out, then the next one might.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that you're just touching on a really important point, which is like having your sort of like, your circle of like support systems, whether it be other entrepreneurs. I mean, I'm definitely friends, I have a friend circle and we're all, entrepreneurs, or we're all of the mindset of wanting to build something for ourselves. And so we definitely get together and we talk about ideas, and we talk, if we have an issue with something, we talk about it in terms of like, maybe I'm like, oh, I have this issue with my business, what do you think? And having other people who are positive, who believe in you and believe in themselves and genuinely want you to succeed, and are there to provide guidance or resources, especially as a female, young female entrepreneurs who are starting out. It's great to really you and your friend, whether they're your close friends or they're people that you network with, that you find that you really relate to in your philosophy on entrepreneurship, you should definitely have those masterminds, if you will, with those people, because that helps you as an entrepreneur not feel alone, A, and then B, you're able to also use them as a sounding board.
Right. Believe it or not, our time is almost up. I wanted to thank you, Lana, so much for sharing today with our listeners your entrepreneurial story and how you overcame some of the psychological obstacles that you encountered during your inspirational journey. How can people reach you to learn more about your work?
Sure. So they can reach me through our website, bizbrokersla.com, or they can follow us they can follow me and my business partner, Adriana, on the Biz Hot List on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Great. This podcast is brought to you by Women Entrepreneurs Global, the first startup studio and digital DIY startup platform for women. For more information on our guests, this podcast, and many other female founder programs, please visit womenentrepreneurs.global. We believe in an open and non-stigmatizing dialogue about the hidden psychological difficulties experienced by many successful entrepreneurs and highlighting the strategies used to overcome them as a critical way to help other founders achieve success. Please join me next week for more Mindset for Success stories. I'm Dr. Leslie Knutson, and you can drop me a line at drleslieKnutson at drleslieKnutson.com.
This podcast is brought to you by Women Entrepreneurs Global, the first startup studio and digital DIY startup platform for women. For more information on her guests, this podcast, and many other female founder programs, please visit womenentrepreneurs.global. We believe in open and non-stigmatizing dialogue about the hidden psychological difficulties experienced by many successful entrepreneurs and highlighting the strategies used to overcome them, such as the fear of failure, of not being good enough, and that loud, chattering internal critic is critical to helping other founders achieve success. Please join her next week for more Mindset for Success stories. That was Dr. Leslie Knutson, and you can drop her a line at dr.leslieKnutson at dr.leslieKnutson.com.